Let's move on to Madhya Pradesh. Madhya Pradesh, where Kamal Nath is playing a very, very interesting hand of politics. He's borrowing freely from the BJP's playbook. He is, incorporating elements of Hinduism. Some would say Hindutva. He even praised Rajiv Gandhi for unlocking the locks at Ayodhya. This is ahead of the Ram Mandir being inaugurated by the Prime Minister in January, and he's fighting the fight of his life. Meanwhile, Shivraj Singh Chouhan there, once again, similar to Rajasthan, is not being promoted as the chief ministerial candidate by the BJP. In your ABPC voter survey, you are expecting a comfortable win for the Congress in Madhya Pradesh. This was a win that could have been theirs last time, but the BJP, with Jyotiraditya Scindia's help, was able to break that comfort zone. Tell us your reading of Madhya Pradesh. The numbers are on the screen. Can we go back to the numbers?
The reading of Madhya Pradesh is, again, it's not really an anti-incumbent vote, because the number of votes for the BJP is actually going up as well. And that is largely because the bipolarization of the state, just like in Rajasthan, where Congress, even after losing, is actually increasing the vote share. The other space in all these three states, which was roughly about 20-22%, it is squeezing down to 10-12%. And that 10% vote is largely in a split of 6-4 in one state and 6-4 in the other state, going in between those two parties, but eventually resulting in a slight increase of the incumbent vote share. So it's not an anti-incumbent vote as such. CM is not unpopular. He is popular. He remains popular. And even though BJP has refused to give his name is still almost touching 40%. So he is still popular. But there is a very weird emotion of fatigueness. Now, fatigued or tired of somebody in power is something which is not anger, emotion of anger. मैं नाराज नहीं हूं, मैं थक गया हूं. अब ये इसका it's a very, again I said, these elections are very critical to understand and go beyond the binaries of perception of black and white. There could be something in the gray where people are saying, यार बहुत हो गया, अच्छे लोग हैं, भले इंसान हैं वो, लेकिन मामा को हो गए 20 साल. अब now that fatigueness is in terms of, again, MLAs, the multiple term MLAs, the ministers, multiple term ministers. So there is an emotion of fatigue, no doubt about that. And also one very important thing, Barkha, in my understanding, of about 30 years of reading elections in India, studying elections in India, I believe that Indian electorate largely do not appreciate two things. One is arrogance in the public servants, an expression of arrogant faces, which is not the case of Shivraj Singh Chouhan. He is very humble, very in that way. Same is with Mr. Gehlot. In his public speaking and everything, he is very polite, humble, and nice guy in that way. So the people do not take the idea of being an arrogant leader to these two leaders. However, one more thing which people do not appreciate is basically not appreciating the mandate or humiliating the mandate, in that way. So I guess that the BJP, by breaking up the Congress and forming the government after last election, that is something which was not appreciated by the voters of Madhya Pradesh. Disrespecting the mandate is something which has not gone down well, even with the BJP supporters. We have asked multiple questions on that one on multiple rounds, and even the big section of BJP voters do not feel it. And also because of the fact, Barkha, that the issue of Jyotiraditya faction coming to BJP has created a huge issue in BJP's rank and file, because it's the organizational strength that had made BJP win in Madhya Pradesh. And all of a sudden in Chambal, Bagelkhand, Bundelkhand region, they are now dealing with the imported leaders where the party rank and file is not really competitive.
Let's look at this graphic. Who is the choice for chief minister? As you said, Shivraj Singh Chouhan is not unpopular, but he's marginally less popular today than Kamal Nath. This is not anger or anti-incumbency. This is just थोड़ी बोरियत, like बहुत साल देख लिया, किसी और को आजमा लेते हैं kind of feeling. But Scindia, who left the Congress, went to the BJP, delivered actually Madhya Pradesh to the BJP, therefore, is not a very popular choice. And you are further saying that Scindia's own belt, is not actually forecast to do very well.
Well, Mr. Sindhia might be a good bet in the long run. I'm not saying that because standalone people are not unfavorable to him. But in comparison to other leadership, for example, Mr. Shivraj, now that he is in the same pack as Mr. Shivraj Singh Chouhan, those numbers are not stacking up. And one more interesting thing, Barkha, that Shivraj Singh Chouhan's own number were roughly about 40 to 43% about a month and 2 months back in our tracker. It came down by 4-5%, and the reason is not that he has become unpopular. Reason is कि ये आधा दर्जन जो तमाम दिल्ली की तोपें भेज दी गई है ना अपने अपने डिस्ट्रिक्ट में इलेक्शन लड़ने के लिए, all those leaders are kind of propping up as a 1% here and 1% there. So that 4-5% loss is actually attributed to those people in their own districts or and areas of surrounding districts, those where they are contesting or hailing from. All these central leaders or big leaders which have been sent back by the BJP to contest the election, they are propping up with 1.5% at the radar. And this is why Mr. Chauhan's rating are looking at 38%.
Very interesting. But I wanted to talk a little bit about Kamal Nath's campaign, before we come to the fact that the Congress in Madhya Pradesh has expelled as many as 39 leaders for anti-party activities. So that churn is taking place. But Kamal Nath's campaign, it's a very interesting. Kamal Nath was the first Congress leader, I think in 2014, when the Congress was routed, to say that the party had failed to be an aspirational party. The A.K. Antony report had said that the party was failed to be anti-Hindu. Kamal Nath is visibly addressing that gap. He is presenting himself very much as a believing Hindu leader. And in fact, it was Mamaji, Shivraj Singh Chouhan, he hasn't done it for a long time, who would go and, maybe participate in an iftar, wear the skull cap. So, Shivraj wanted to move a little bit to the center. Kamal Nath wants to move a little bit to the right. How do you understand Kamal Nath's campaign?
I think Kamal Nath is playing brilliantly, if I may say so, simply because I don't really think he is doing soft Hindutva. Soft Hindutva is, Barkha, something which the Gujarat Congress Committee has been doing for years. Neither here nor there kind of thing. So I think what Kamal Nath is doing is appropriate level of Hindutva. Saying that party stand is secularism, I stand by that, but I am a devout Hindu and I am wearing my Hindu identity on my sleeve. And my Hindutva should not be taken down, looked down upon in comparison to anybody else Hindutva, and most importantly, Shivraj Singh's Hindutva. So I remember 2 months back, we asked in a snap poll a question which word was lettered like, whose Hindutva do you think is you justify or you believe in? And Kamal Nath was almost like 40-45%, almost a point ahead of Shivraj Singh Chouhan. So that was an eye-opener for me as a data person, that, okay, here is a person who is actually defying the Congress party line, because he is taking a stand which is way more aggressive than his own party as far as Hindutva identity is concerned. So he is very unique in that way. He even did not allow his party to hold the India Alliance rally in Bhopal. नाम कुछ भी लिया हो, but the fact remains that he took a stand that हम नहीं करेंगे पार्टी की रैली तुम लोगों की यहाँ पे, because he knew, I mean, somebody from Tamil Nadu, Stalin का बेटा आके कुछ बोलेगा, and why should I be answerable to that?
Would you say the Congress needs Kamal Nath today more than Kamal Nath needs the Congress?
I would agree to that. I will not mince my word in saying this is an election of Kamal Nath, the leader, versus BJP, the organization. That's what we are looking at.
Kamal Nath, the leader, versus BJP, the organization. Now, let's bring up the same slide. Very interesting, very well put. The question that you asked in Madhya Pradesh, how angry or unsatisfied are you with the government? You have said that it's not anti-incumbency, and yet look at that number. 55% want to change the government. Does this mean that Mamaji's MLAs are not popular? His bureaucrats are not popular?
That's pretty much true. Not only that, Mamaji's MLAs are not popular, they are in multiple, these are the MLAs, big number of them who have been there elected multiple times, not just themselves, but their family members and other people might have been near and dear ones have been MLAs. And so there is definitely a sense of fatigue. Also, there are big number of people which have been sent who do not want to contest. That's funny and odd. I mean, we know the leaders who have said कि हमारी तो इच्छा नहीं थी, पार्टी ने जबरदस्ती बोल दिया, तो अब हम लड़ रहे हैं. When you give these kind of statements, what exactly are you thinking that people are going to
I mean,
look at you?
leaders like Kailash Vijayvargiya, for example.
Exactly. I mean, and that kind of emotion or that kind of public statement is not something which goes down well with the public at large. And also the fact that Barkha, that similar kind of a question I would share with you. Just a moment. Just a moment.
We'll share your screen.
No, it's the Chhattisgarh which I opened.
Okay, we're coming to Chhattisgarh in a second. Just before we close,
I will just show you the Madhya Pradesh first, so that because the public emotion or public perception of who is winning, that is something which, again, just like Rajasthan, it is bang opposite over here. You see, for a really long time, the perception that eventually Congress is going to win the state, that is irrespective of whichever party they are voting for. So now, that is interesting for me, because this means that a big number of even the BJP supporters, they are of the opinion that eventually Congress is likely to win the state. And that is something which tells you about the mood to change. These are kind of a subtle, not yet subtle kind of information that the data provides you. That largely speaking, I am voting for party X, but I am feeling party Y is gonna win. Now,
and sometimes that can change your vote, because you don't want to vote for the losing side.
Sometimes that changes, if not changes your vote, sometimes that changes the relative turnout. You might be a very good supporter of a party X, and if you don't really want to vote for the party Y, you sit at home. And when you sit at home, the relative turnout, like 2 blocks, it's like that. 2 blocks, suppose this is the Congress vote and this is the BJP vote. Out of every 100 BJP voters, if 90% come out, and out of every 100, if 70 come out from the Congress, the election result would be different. And if it is just the opposite, the result would be different. It is not necessarily a swing of votes, Barkha, in psephology. It's more importantly a relative turnout of different support bases. And this is why it's important to understand what exactly, and the question of fatigue, Barkha, that's funny thing is, fatigue is not among the Congress voters. People generally say we have fatigue, we are tired. It's from the people who have voted for you. Now the question is whether their anger or whether their dislike of the alternative is so big that even after fatigue, they will come out and vote for you because of the organizational strength. That is why I said it is not the individual versus the BJP, the organization, that this election is going to be.